Hello friends, welcome back to Breaking the Chronic Pain, Chronic Stress Cycle. For today's practices, we are going to focus on breathing techniques, and specifically breathing techniques to elicit the parasympathetic response of our nervous system. Like grounding and orienting, breathwork is also a body-based or somatic practice that we can do virtually anywhere at any time. Breath is one of the processes of the autonomic nervous system that is automatic, and yet we can consciously choose and with practice control our breath in ways that are very powerful and even healing. Because as I mentioned at the start, by controlling the way we breathe, we can shift out of the sympathetic stress responses and shift into the healing state of the parasympathetic nervous system. So for today's lesson, I'm going to lead you through 5 separate breathing techniques that essentially they build one on the other. So as you gain confidence and ease with one practice, I think you'll find that moving on to the next one will just be a natural progression. And yet that is not to say that one technique is more effective than the other. I encourage you to, as you practice these techniques on your own after we learn them today, that you pay attention and become aware which ones come naturally to you and elicit that relaxation response that you are looking for. So as we get started today, I want to remind you of the essential use of props. As you noticed, I'm sitting on the floor today. Now these practices can be done sitting in a chair, and certainly laying down in your bed, perhaps at a later time when you're practicing on your own. But for today's purposes, to learn the techniques, I suggest sitting up so that you can see me. So I'm sitting on the ground today, and I wanted to show you how using props can help you feel more supported in an upright position. Because we want to have a lengthened spine as we're breathing into our diaphragm. We want to be open and not constricted inward. So anything you can do to help have that lifted spine and open posture, it's going to be helpful to bring your hips off of the floor. So I've got a pretty firm couch pillow right here. I bring that under my tailbone. So I'm not sitting in the middle of it, but it's really under my tailbone, and that lifts my hips up off the ground. Using a yoga block does the same thing, it's just not quite as comfortable. I also have a balance pad mat, I'm not quite sure what this is. I bought it from a chiropractor years ago, but that also works to put it right under your tailbone. And it's what I prefer, just to bring my pelvis up and help me have a lifted spine and open posture, okay? If you're using a yoga block, you can always put maybe, a pillow, a towel or a blanket over it so it'll be softer for you. So let's get started. And just like our grounding practices, I believe that breath awareness, and I mentioned this yesterday, that the breath awareness is in itself a practice for regulating the nervous system. So we're going to, as I said, I'm going to lead through 5 separate techniques, one building on the next, and we will begin, you may have guessed, with breath awareness. So let's get started. And just like with our grounding and orienting practices, we will begin with a pause. We pause to intentionally just allow the body to still, to just settle in or settle down into this present moment. And then allow your awareness to sense the ground under. If you're on the ground like me, you might be able to feel that ground under the sides of your legs and feel that you are sitting on something that is connected to the ground, which is firm and secure. So we always want to start with a pause and by grounding. And now I invite you to draw awareness to your breath. Without any intention or need to change your breathing. Just see what it's like to experience your breath in this moment. Intentionally pay attention without judgment. Just noticing your breath in the moment. Powerful practice of being with your breath. Now I invite you to place one hand on your heart or rib cage and the other hand on your abdomen. And as you continue to notice your breath, perhaps you can feel the movement of your breath. Perhaps you can feel that movement as a lifting of the hand on the ribs, or an expansion in your belly, or a fall of the hand. Remember, you get to notice what you notice and feel what you feel without judgment or analyzing. We're intentionally focusing on experiencing our breath. Maybe feeling the movement of your breath, creating movement to one or both of your hands. And now here, see if you could soften in your shoulders and in your neck and or in your face. Being with your breath. And allowing a softening into your shoulders, into your neck, and into your face. So I invite you to let this be an interoceptive experience. Just feeling the breath move in your body. Remembering that interoception is our ability to have a perception or sense, feeling and sensation within our body. So let this be an interoceptive experience as you feel your breath move Notice what it's like to feel your body breathe. Very nice. Very nice. Now if you want to allow your hands to release from your ribs, from your stomach, let's give the shoulders a little roll. We're going to just do a little routine in between our different breathing techniques. So we want to, as much as you're able, to stay lifted in the spine and open in the posture without activating the shoulders or the chest or the neck or the face. We don't want to activate this part of the body with our breathing. We want the breathing to be in the diaphragm and in the lungs and not in the chest, shoulders. Does that make sense? So let's just roll the shoulders a little bit. Feel that that rooting of your grounding or rooting the tailbone, rooting for the floor, holding you firm. Feel that length and strength you have to your spine to sit upright. And then notice if there's space between your earlobes and your shoulders. Just like our practice with grounding and orienting and using interoception to orient to our body, can you get a sense when your shoulders are low and loose that there's space between your earlobes and shoulders? Okay, now we'll move on to ratio breathing. Ratio breathing is a very easy practice, and it doesn't have to be super structured, other than we want to exhale more than we inhale. Now, physiologically, when we inhale, that raises our heart rate. And when we exhale, that decreases our heart rate. That is why ratio breathing elicits the relaxation response, because it activates the parasympathetic by having a longer exhale that creates that relaxation response. So let's start with a ratio breath of 2 to 4. So I'm going to lead it, but I'm not going to count. I'm going to have you silently count inside your mind, and I will lead it. And it goes like this. Let's take a pause and bring awareness to the feel of the ground, the support, connection you have to something stable under you. And now we'll inhale to the count of 2 and exhale the count of 4. Inhale, count of 2, and exhale, count of 4. Inhale, count of 2. Exhale, count of 4. Last time, inhale 2 and exhale 4. Good. Now notice here if you could soften the shoulders, the neck, or the face. Again, I want to encourage you to allow the breathing to happen within your diaphragm, within your lungs, and not have to activate. So, of course, what I mean by that is we're not going inhale and exhale. I mean, it's fine to let those shoulders come down on the exhale, but if they're already down, maybe you won't need to. So we don't want to inhale and tense in the shoulders. That's something different. So we'll just let those shoulders be low and loose. So we're going to stay with ratio breathing and have us move on to a 3-6 count. And this can be done if you want to open up your mouth and exhale. That's completely up to you. Let this be mostly an organic experience of interoceptive experience of feeling what feels right, what feels releasing and relaxing for you, okay? So here we go. Inhale 3, exhale 6. Inhale 3, exhale 6. Inhale 3, exhale 6. Last time, inhale 3, exhale 6. Good, and let your breath return to a natural rhythm. Good. So that's ratio breathing. That's ratio breathing with a count. Now, to really have this be a sensory and interoceptive experience, let's try doing this just based on how it feels. Just that we feel that we are exhaling more than we inhale. So if at all possible, let go of the counting and so we're going to move away from the counting or thinking mind. We're going to be into the feeling body, okay? So let's do this we're going to do this for 45 seconds. So find your ratio breathing based on how it feels. Here we go. If you want to place one hand on your chest, one on your stomach. Good. Allowing the breath to return to this, allowing the body to breathe. Now here I invite you to check in with yourself. Just check in to how you're feeling kind of in an overall state. You might check in on those relaxation responses of the body. I think that I've mentioned these before. The relaxation responses are things like saliva production in your mouth. You might notice that you've had a need to swallow, or just notice the quality or quantity of saliva in your mouth. Taking a spontaneous, deeper breath, maybe when we're finished, or feeling a deep sigh. Feeling or hearing your stomach gurgle is also a relaxation response. A moisture to the eyes, particularly the inside corners of your eyes, is also a physiological relaxation response. So just be aware of those, be curious, and notice what you notice and feel what you feel. All right, we're going to go on to our third breathing technique, and it is diaphragmatic or belly breathing. And with this, I think it's helpful to place your hands on the sides of your abdomen. So your middle finger is kind of in line with your belly button. Not that it needs to be on it, but it could be. We just want our hands resting where we can feel our abdomen. So with diaphragmatic breathing, we want to activate the diaphragm very intentionally as we inhale. So the diaphragm is right here, and as you breathe in, when you fill that up, you're going to feel your abdomen wall press into your fingers. So this does take some intentional practice. Breathing in to fill up. You might imagine there's a balloon in there. And as you breathe in, it fills up and you can feel your fingers, you can feel your abdomen wall underneath it, and then on the exhale, it's like you're deflating a balloon. What I do is I imagine I'm drawing back my belly button towards my back. I'm deflating that balloon by using my diaphragmatic muscles to draw back and to press out with the breath. Okay, let's make sure, just check on that we have ease in our shoulders and our neck and jaw. Okay, we don't want to use this part of the body to breathe into the diaphragm. All right, so here we go. We breathe in to inflate. If you want to hold it for a moment, and then exhale, deflate. Breathe in, feel it, fill up. And pause and exhale, deflate. Breathing in to fill up that balloon. Hold it, pause, and deflate. Exhale. Again, make sure that you're not tense in the shoulders. Try this maybe just with one hand and let this other one just be relaxed. I encourage you to practice this laying on your stomach, on the floor particularly, so that on a yoga mat, so that you can really feel your abdomen wall press into the mat, and then you feel it draw back, and you don't need to hold your hands anywhere. So I really encourage you to practice it laying prone on your stomach. But for our purposes today, if you want to try both the hands, or let's just go to one hand here, and we're going to take a pause to soften in the shoulders and the neck and face, to feel the firm, stable ground underneath. Begin to breathe, filling up the diaphragm, holding and deflate. Inhale, fill up. Hold, exhale, deflate. Inhale, fill up. Hold, exhale, deflate. Last time, inhale, fill up. Hold, and exhale, deflate. Good, and just release your hand. Let your breath return to normal. So that is diaphragmatic or belly breathing. Next is box breathing. Now, box breathing is having the same amount of time, shall you say, on your inhale and a hold and an exhale and a hold before you go into your next inhale and a hold, and exhale and a hold. Okay, box breathing. Let's start with 5, okay? And again, we want to be soft in the shoulders, lots of space between earlobes and shoulders, soft in the neck, soft in the jaw. All right, I'll lead it. I think I will count. I'll count and you box breathe. Here we go. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale the breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boxed breathing. How does that feel? All right, let's try it this way. Let's count silently and see what that feels like for you. Maybe not having to hear my voice. And this is something for you to practice, for you to be able to do this on your own. And so notice what it feels like to be doing box breathing with the count of 5. Maybe you'll want to extend it or lessen it. So, all right, here we go. We're going to start with the inhale, go. And breathe. Okay, something I notice with myself is going to take some practice to breathe in, especially when we're counting and, trying to have it be a certain way. I feel like I kind of bring my shoulders up to bring that breath in, and we want to, as much as possible, just to breathe in through the diaphragm, through the lungs, without drawing the shoulders up. So I'm going to lead through this. I'll use 5, and we're going to do 3 rounds of it. So I want you to get the feeling of what it's like to do this box breathing without pausing 3 times in a row. Okay, let's give the shoulders a roll. We move the neck a little bit. Make sure we've got that nice space between earlobes and shoulders. All right, we're going to begin our box breathing. Inhaling 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling. 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. 4, 3, 2, and 1. This one seems like a lot of work. I don't know. Just notice how you feel. So a lot of this, I mean, certainly there is something happening with the inhaling and the exhaling and having an effect physiologically on our system. But also, if you didn't notice, it takes a lot of focused attention to breathe like this. Focused attention brings us into the present moment, and that in itself is grounding, which is calming. So there's a lot going on here, a lot of goodness going on here. So that's box breathing. And again, that can be done 3, 4, 5, experiment, whatever you like. Now, the last one is, I guess it's an extension of box breathing. I'm calling it a 4-part breath with a spontaneous inhale. And the idea with this one is that we want to exhale all that we have out of our lungs. And then we want to hold our breath for as long as you can hold your breath until your body says, all done, and until you feel that spontaneous inhale and just let that glorious breath just come on in. You might think of this like, you might recall what it feels like to be swimming, to be underwater, maybe like when you're a kid and you're just really playing underwater, diving for something, and you're under there, you're holding your breath, your lungs maybe are starting to burn, and your body's telling you it's time to come up for air. And when you finally come up, you raise up and you just gulp in that big, glorious gulp of air. And that is the feeling that we want. Again, so it's pressing out all of the exhale and holding your breath until that spontaneous inhale comes. Now, I do want to caution you that that there might be, if there is at all a trigger for you in not being able to breathe, certainly do not try this technique. So, be kind and cautious, and just overcautious on this one. Again, if there's any sort of experience for you with where you haven't been able to breathe, or any other sort of breath trigger, swimming or drowning, don't do this. But otherwise, it is a powerful activation of the vagus nerve, which of course elicits that parasympathetic response. So, all right, so to do this, a 4-part breath, we're going to inhale. Let's not do any particular numbers. We're just going to inhale till you feel full, and then hold the breath. And then we're going to exhale it all the way out and hold the breath until that spontaneous breath comes. So it's a little bit like the box breathing, but without the numbers. Just really more of, again, having that interoceptive, that internal experience of feeling that that we're breathing this way. So let me see if I can lead through this and also do it. Okay. All right, let's roll the shoulders. And of course, if you've needed to change your positioning at all, listen to your body. It'll tell you what it needs. Okay. Turning the neck. All right, here we go. 4-part breath with spontaneous inhale. Or let's just call this the spontaneous inhale. I think that's sufficient. Okay. So we're going to inhale till you're full. Hold your breath. Exhale till you're complete. hold your breath till inhale. Find your spontaneous inhale. I think I can hold my breath for a very long time. So that is the practice, and give it some practice, maybe in the shower. I don't know, when you're on a walk, but again, this really can be a very powerful activation for the vagus nerve. And again, it's about releasing all of the air out of your lungs and holding your breath until you reach, even go past that little point of discomfort, and till that spontaneous inhale comes in. And it's recommended that you do this 3 times, and then rest for a couple minutes. Do it 3 times, and rest, and 3 times. So a total of 9 times. And practicing this every day can be, again, very powerful for you to begin to notice and recognize that breathing particular ways you have control. So we go back to the encouragement that we are not powerless, and we are certainly not hopeless against our systems, our bodies, stress responses to the chronic stress of chronic pain. We can affect our system. We can bring on those relaxation response by choosing the way we breathe. And I will leave you with this, and that is that practice makes parasympathetic progress. So we want to practice this often. We want to progress at activating, accessing, and sustaining the parasympathetic response of our nervous system. And this is how we will break the cycle of chronic pain, chronic stress, more pain, more stress. We can break the cycle so that we can live with less stress and less pain, so that you can breathe and move and live full of hope. Thank you for joining me for this session, and until we move and breathe together again, be safe and well and full of hope. Shalom, my friends.